Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth
and Brian.
We've got a fun topic this week, as usual. We've got some updates on some really old topics that we did. We're going to be talking some updates on like what's changed from our perspectives in terms of trip advice, park bags, tips and tricks stuff. And then we're going to tie it all out with our fun Yelp reviews that we love to do so much. But before we do that, we have to dive into some news this week. We've got a couple interesting news topics and one not so interesting. So I guess we'll start it off on the bleak note. At the time of us recording this, Imagineer Rolly Crump has died at the age of 93. So very unfortunate, very, very big loss to some Disney history.
Definitely one of the for sure big players in it.
I know, it's so sad. I feel like slowly but surely, like all ties to like OG Imagineering are going, and it's a really sad time to be living through.
You know, on the brighter side of things, though, it is, you know, it's nice to look at Disney right now and still see that there are so many attractions still in the park that he, you know, had a hand in, though, you know?
That is crazy, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely speaks to like the quality of his work.
Mm-hmm. But still definitely very, very sad loss.
Next thing that we have on here is some new animatronic stuff. This is not pertaining to the U.S. parks, but Disney has revealed a prototype for their Judy Hopps animatronic for Zootopia Land at Shanghai Disneyland. I don't know if you guys got the chance to actually watch the video for this yet, but this is cool. And
it's insane.
It's insane.
It is so insane. Yeah, this is like almost the like Boston Dynamics robot level stuff that they're doing now, which is really cool to see.
Is Boston Dynamics, is that those creepy like dog robot looking
Yep.
things?
The ones that they try to like kick over and stuff.
That's definitely the vibe that I got from seeing this.
There's still kind of slightly uncanny valley with everything, but you know, it's cool to see them pushing the technological bounds at least.
Yeah.
The part that's kind of like really jarring to me is everything that's not supposed to look like Judy Hopps. Like the legs, the roller skates, all of that is just weird. Mm-hmm. And then you see like the top half that looks like a rabbit.
Yeah, it's cool. And I'm sure that they're more interested in showcasing what it can do and everything. But it's kind of like, you know, put some pants on or something. Man.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be children's safe environment.
And then the last thing that we've got on here is that Genie Plus reaches an all-time high as Disney braces for some spring break crowds. So Genie Plus for the spring break season has increased its pricing to $29 per person per day, which is pretty on par with a lot of the holiday that we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still don't know if this is worth it. I definitely don't think it's worth it during a holiday season, but this is the time that you would try it out. So
see, and that's the thing. I've used it twice. And one time I had a very positive experience with it. And the other time I had a very negative experience with it. So that's kind of the issue that I see is that, you know, I don't have a very large sample size of dealing with this, but it seems like kind of a crapshoot as to how worth it is on each day, which isn't something that I want to spend my money on.
Yeah. That's fair. So, all that said, that's our news for this week. I think we can start talking about our topic, which is, I mean, starting it off, we're going to go through and talk about some stuff that's changed. It's been a while since we've started the podcast, and I know when we first started, we were really doing a lot of those episodes like what's in my park bag and, giving a lot of trip advice, and we kind of just wanted to go through, update it, and give our quick feedback on like what we think maybe we would do differently now. Obviously, our lives as a whole have changed a lot since then, especially for you, Brian.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, speaking of park bags, I will say I know when we first started kind of talking about stuff, I was very much kind of park warrior, and I would have a lot of stuff in my bag. And then up until about, a year and a half ago, I kind of switched to being like the like light pack warrior. I would rarely even bring a bag with me anymore. And then, obviously like life happens and now we must have a diaper bag when we go to Disney. So
trade one bag for another bag.
Yeah, I know. And, it was funny because like I hit that point where I was not bringing a bag anymore. And I'm like, I think I really like this. I found very few times where I was like needing a lot of the stuff that I would bring with me in my bag. And I kind of got used to that. And then, now that's not even close to being an option anymore.
I kind of agree with that. I know when we first started talking, I was super into photography, and I remember always bringing my park bag with my camera and stuff in it. I feel like now when we go, it's usually like I'll bring it 1 or 2 days, but for the most part, not having a bag is kind of freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a woman, and I'm sure any other woman out there listening, I can't go anywhere without a bag, especially not Disney World. I'm definitely like an over planner type of person. I'm a have it and not need it rather than need it and not have it, which does not always work in my favor. I try really hard to still maintain like a relatively small and light bag when I go to the parks. Does not always go that way, but it's interesting that you brought up the camera thing, Mario's, because when I first started going, I was like, yes, I got to take pictures of everything, bringing my big clunky DSLR around.
All the lenses
and now
everything.
I can't be bothered with that. I'm like, that adds so much weight and my back hurts and I can't deal with it.
That's one thing I wish that like I could still do. Like I'll bring it on the trip with me and it sees maybe like a day or 2 in the park. But like I don't do the whole theme park warrior stay in from open to close anymore. And because of that, like there's so little free time for me to actually go through, take pictures of the things that I want. I'm not going to like I used to be able to take a tripod with me into the parks and set up on Main Street and take photos when people were leaving. I cannot do that anymore. I cannot be bothered with that.
Yeah. And furthermore, like you said, I just can't do the park warrior thing anymore either. Like, I don't understand how I ever did that, first of all, and I can't fathom doing it again. Like, I don't think I will ever stay open or close at a park ever again. It's just exhausting spending even a couple of hours at a park, much less, the entire day. Or even more so going from one park to another and then having to do all that extra work and walking. So, I don't know. Maybe we're just getting old, you guys.
I think we're getting old.
I think we are getting old. I also think with that too, like as much as I feel like I used to do the full day in the park, I think now I am the biggest proponent of like go back to the room and maybe take a midday nap, which is also makes me feel super old.
I can't do the nap thing because I will legit just sleep for the rest of the day. Like naps never work for me, but I'm definitely a go back to the room and chill or go like back to the resort and sit at the pool bar and drink.
Yeah.
Change my shoes, change my outfit maybe.
Yeah. And I think for me, like a lot of that has to do more with the crowds than it does like actually being in the park, because I feel like for me personally, the best times of the day are morning and then afternoon. And obviously that partially has to do with the heat because I'm not great with the heat. But like the crowds in the morning are manageable because not everybody wants to get up. And then towards the end of the day, people teeter out of the park. So it's a little bit easier to get to do things there. So I'll try to like miss that middle of the day just so I'm not there during the mad rush.
Yeah.
So I actually pulled up an episode that we did, and I'm trying to figure out what it's. Okay, this was 2017. So this was very early on in the podcast. Just for anybody listening that may not know, we started the end of July 2017. So this is only a few months in that we did this episode called Mistakes That Disney World Rookies Make and How to Avoid Them.
I cannot wait to be very wrong about a lot of things.
It's interesting. Some of this stuff is still accurate in my opinion, but then some of it is outdated because it's just like stuff that we've moved on from. Mm-hmm. So, for example, not budgeting enough. I still think that's very relevant.
Oh, yeah.
It's even more relevant, honestly, because it's so much more expensive than it used to be. Also, not utilizing my Disney experience / Fast Pass / advanced dining reservation. That has completely gotten thrown out the door, in my opinion.
Wow, yeah, we wow, things they are a changing.
Yeah,
man, oh man, yeah.
I also think it's interesting we put waiting to buy tickets at the gate. Can you even do that anymore?
You can. You absolutely can, because my mom did it like maybe a year or two ago. So unless that has changed this past year, you can do it. And
so you absolutely can. Is that you can buy the tickets at the gate. You just have to hope that there's a reservation available, right?
Which is, I can't imagine. Like, I mean, obviously, probably nobody does that like, you know, knows much about Disney planning just because of how complicated it's gotten now. But like, I couldn't imagine just showing up at the park and like hoping that they do have the reservations. Because if not, what are you going to do? Are you going to drive to the next park and hope they do it the next one, or what?
So realistically, I think that's something that's probably never going to change, being able to buy tickets and stuff at the gate, not because of the reservation system or anything, but I also think that if they were to get rid of that, that also loses them the revenue from people that want to upgrade their park tickets, because you'll have a lot of people that will go there specifically like to the TTC or even like ticket counters, I guess, and try to upgrade from like just the single day tickets to like a park hopper or something.
Yeah,
so
and that makes sense.
But that said, you still should not try to do that, and that is arguably probably one of the worst things that you could try.
Yeah, still very heavily recommend not doing that. Also, not checking park hours or refurb schedules. I think that's still that's good advice.
Yes, yeah. I still on social media, and you know, especially now with us doing the Yelp reviews today, still see so many people complaining about showing up at the parks and their favorite attraction not being open. And you know, in this day and age, I can't remember the last time the Disney surprise shut down an attraction for a refurbishment. You know, it's almost always known well ahead of time.
Yeah.
And even to the point of like park hours too, like that the hours are so different from what they used to be. Like they're pretty consistent across the board for like the times now, but I feel like the one thing about this period of time is you have a lot of people that are coming that haven't gone since pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. So seeing the drastic change in something like Magic Kingdom is the one we talk about all the time, right? Like that park is no longer open till midnight anymore. At best, you're probably getting like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So I don't know. To me, it just feels like that's a wild thing to not do.
Yeah, and I still see every year in like Facebook groups that I'm a part of, people complaining because they didn't know that the Christmas party or the Halloween party was going on, so they had to leave Magic Kingdom at 6:00. And I'm like, wow, if only there was like the entire internet that could have told you that if you had just done a simple Google search.
Beth, I can do you one better. If only their TV didn't tell them when they turned it on at the resort.
Oh my gosh, right.
Oh.
Or like if they use the app at all, I'm sure it has something on there as well.
I'm pretty sure it's like front page, isn't it?
Probably. And
Yeah,
they
I
put
think
it at the
is.
front of the park. Like
Mhm.
they put like signs that are like, hey, it's closing tonight at 6 p.m. It's like,
Right.
oh,
Like there's no
okay.
real excuse.
Yeah.
Well, and especially like looking from a couple years ago when we last talked about this to now, I think the overwhelming thing is that going to Disney is constantly requiring more and more and more planning to really do, and especially do correctly, and to a point where you'll be able to enjoy it. So yeah, if you don't know the basics as far as like how long the park is going to be open on the day that you are going, you messed up very bad somewhere along the way.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So what other ones do you have from that episode?
Well, let's see. Not checking the weather. That's a good idea. Although
Yeah, it's still fair.
I can tell you that I have personally put a rain poncho in my bag like almost every single Disney trip, and I've literally used one once. Even when it's raining, I refuse to put it on because it's usually hot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would rather be wet
Yep.
than wet and feel like I'm suffocating inside of a plastic bag.
Well, that's the thing. I'd rather be like dripping wet from the rain than from my own sweat.
Right.
So,
Yes.
I can see that.
So I feel like this is still very good advice. Not taking enough breaks in the park and not
that's
leaving
absolutely.
time to relax and refresh at your resort or have a rest day in between.
Mhm.
If nothing else, that has gotten more relevant, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. Also, forcing kids to stay out super late to get your money's worth does not work if no one is having fun. I'm sure. I've only been with a child one time, and it was not my child, so I was not actually responsible for them. But I can imagine that this is still sound advice.
Yeah.
Does Olive dictate when you guys leave the parks, Brian?
No, not really. I mean, because she's at the age now where, we can just kind of like put her in the stroller, and then if she's really that tired, she'll go to sleep. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah. Now, I will say, when we were still in Florida, we would kind of like, we usually plan to go after like her morning nap. So we just have everything packed up, and as soon as she woke up, we'd go in there. But like once we were in the parks, it was, we were there. So we weren't going to head out or anything because of that. But I can definitely see, with a little bit older child where, you would have to definitely plan a little bit more around how you're going to take those breaks, because, a 5-year-old kid probably isn't going to just like sleep in a stroller, I wouldn't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we also have a whole section, which I think is funny, called Not Utilizing Magic Band Capabilities.
Jeez. Gosh, this feels so long ago.
I know. And realistically, I think, and we've discussed this before, I think I just use the keychain version of a magic band now.
I do too.
Yeah.
And the only reason I even do that is because of the rides that capture your photo while you're riding them. I want it to connect it to my Disney account.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's just like, I mean, yeah, you use it to get into the park, and you can use it as your, hotel key, but you can also use your phone for that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems like extra arm wear that I don't really need.
Yeah. It's funny because you were, saying how, most women would probably bring a bag and everything. But like of the two of us, Jordan has always been like the light packer, the bring less stuff. And I don't even remember the last time she had a magic band or anything in the park. She always just uses her phone now.
Yeah.
And which I don't know. I let mine die too often for me to rely on that. So I do like having a manual backup. But yeah, the keychain pucks are super handy because it takes up almost no space, and it's just it's right there.
Yeah, it's easy. And it's nice to have them for photo pass, just like a photo pass photographer. So, the last section of our notes for this episode is still very relevant. It's don't ruin other people's times. Taking flash pictures on dark rides, filming the fireworks with an iPad, tour groups that chant, people saying things like, do you know how much I paid for this vacation? Being rude to cast members, and your stroller is not a battering ram.
Okay, hang on. That last one, maybe
Ryan relates to that now.
No, I'm not going to say a battering ram, but I will say you can kind of use a stroller to like weave your way through traffic pretty well.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah.
A suggestion.
It's like if you're driving a big truck down the road, like people are going to kind of just naturally get out of your way. So, not saying I suggest running people over with a stroller, but it does actually kind of make it easier to get around.
So, but you don't make a habit of like nipping at people's heels, right?
I wouldn't say a habit. I mean, they give me the stink eye or something.
Okay. Well, they earned it.
What are they going to do? Hit my kid? Like that's
right.
It's the best part. It's like the kid, not me. They're the one in the stroller. But on a real note, yeah, a lot of that other stuff's still very applicable, and it's unfortunately still kind of sad to see how many people are rude to other guests and the cast members, and I don't think we'll ever stop hearing, do you know how much I paid for this trip?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I feel like it's probably gotten even worse with the new like Genie Plus and Lightning Lane situation. Because I know back in just like Fast Pass days, people would be like, oh, so I got to have some special thing to get in the fast lane? And they're like, yeah, that's kind of the point.
It's kind of comical that we've shifted.
Worse.
Yeah.
Because the system, in my opinion, is more confusing than it used to be.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
People are even less likely to have what they need to get into a lightning lane or whatever.
Well, and the funny thing is that like we've shifted from the I didn't know you had to pay for the fast pass thing being a joke to like, yes. Oh yeah, now you actually have to pay for the fast pass.
I know.
Oh goodness.
So any advice that you guys can think of that we didn't cover 5 years ago that would be relevant now?
I think one thing that I was really not adamant about before that I feel like is mattered less to me now is the place that you stay. Like I feel like before I used to be very big on like at least budget for the moderate, but like I feel less inclined to really care about that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Definitely agree. Like I think a lot of people talk bad about the value resorts, but I can tell you I've stayed at Pop several times, and which I think Pop is like borderline moderate at this point because of the Skyliner.
Yeah.
It has kind of bumped it up a little bit, like maybe like value plus, not quite moderate, but
value plus.
But I love Pop. I think the theming is super fun. It's really convenient now, especially with the Skyliner. And I've stayed several times at the All Stars, and I've never had a bad time. Like once they refurb the rooms, it's just like staying in any other hotel. It's clean and convenient. To ride the buses as convenient as riding the buses can be. I mean, but I think it's a good time, and if that's what you can afford, then that's what you go with. You'll still have fun.
Now here's the big question, Beth, is that because you probably have more experience with this than anybody, but is now today's day and age, is on property over off property worth the price hike?
I think if you can get a good deal and you have budgeted for it, I would definitely recommend staying on property. because most of the time I do stay with my best friend who lives in Winter Garden, which is about 25 minutes from Disney property. But which doesn't sound like a lot, especially with someone like me that I drive 35 minutes as like a work commute every day. But when you're on vacation, it feels like a lot. And it's way more convenient to just be able to hop on a bus and like not worry about it. You can just like play around on your phone and wait till you get there and then hop off or hop on and go to the park. And it makes it a lot easier to take those breaks that we recommended earlier, because when you're staying 25 minutes away, you can't just go take a break and come back. By the time you do all that, you've wasted an hour and a half easily.
Mm-hmm.
Just on, getting out of the park, getting to the place you're taking the break and getting back. So
that's a good point.
I think it's still worth it if you can hit it at a good time. Now, am I going to pay, $500 to $700 a night to stay somewhere? Absolutely not. But if you can get it in that nice, like $150 to $250 range, I think it's worth it usually.
Mm-hmm. It is crazy to think, man. I remember just when we first started doing this, we used to be able to grab like All-Star or even sometimes like Pop Century reservations for less than $100 a night.
Yep.
Now,
I was just thinking about that.
That doesn't exist.
No.
Man, I still think this is the most insane thing ever, that during COVID, they were so desperate to get people to come to property. I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge with a Savannah view for $100 a night.
That's
literally never going to happen again.
Never, no.
I was like, I'm so glad that I took that trip though, because I was like, well, I'm never going to be able to afford that again.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like, I remember how I used to just, I would be sitting at my job that I hated, the job that I had before my current job, and just looking on Disney website at hotel prices, just trying to convince myself to take a, whirlwind trip over the weekend. I'm like, it's only $92 for All-Star movies. I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't go. But I mean, even the All-Stars, usually start at like $150 or more.
I know. And then like I would look sometimes too, and always really want to stay at the Poly and be like, oh, it's in the it's in the low 200s. That's twice as much as an All-Star. There's no way I'm gonna pay that extra. And now I'm like, oh my god, I would just pay to stay one night for $200 in the Poly.
Oh my gosh, right?
We really didn't mention renting DVC then, probably because I don't think we were.
Yeah.
But that's
maybe
a really
Kirsten.
good one. Yeah.
I think she's rented DVC several times. I've only done it a couple times myself, but I was just saying that if you sign up for a lot of the DVC rental websites will send out like newsletters and with like, hey, here's confirmed reservations that these people can't go to anymore, so they're trying to get rid of them cheap to get some of their money back, which is how I got that $100 a night at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And you can still get some pretty decent deals if you sign up for those and jump on them real quick. You have to be flexible because you don't get to choose the dates. But if you are flexible, you can usually find, a DVC resort for $300-ish, maybe sometimes $250. I stayed at Boardwalk maybe 2 years ago using DVC for like $225 a night, so that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I feel like DVC is definitely the way to go for a better room.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if it'll let me pull up like August Poly reservations.
I've got pulled up right here.
June. No, this hurts.
Oh, is it how bad? Because I don't think Poly's even available in the ones that I selected.
I had to push out to August, but granted, that's just I pushed it out far. Brian, you were saying $200 a night when we started this. It's standard room. Standard view, $638, and that is the cheapest available.
How much?
$638.
That's insane
for one night.
So I'm looking right now at the beginning of June just for comparison's sake, all the All-Stars are running a special at $155 a night, which is, I mean, it's up, but it's not that bad, you know. The thing, if we're talking about what's changed and what hasn't changed, Port Orleans is still just a smashing deal. I don't think. I mean, it's going for $229 a night right now, and all the other moderates are pretty far above that. Some of them are over 300. So it's just, yeah, definitely. It's hard for me to recommend anything other than like a value resort or Port Orleans for the prices things are at now.
Yeah. Now, I will say that there are a handful of hotels that surround like the outside of Disney property that you can sometimes get a decent deal on. And I know it's not ideal, but they a lot of times do have shuttles, and they're only like, a 10-minute drive if you're renting a car or driving a car. It's a lot more convenient than 25 minutes off property.
Yeah.
But there are also some Airbnbs and Verbos and stuff like that too, if you have like a big group. Because that's, I feel like, a big problem is if you have a big group, you can't really stay on property without spending a fortune or being super cramped.
That is also a really good tip to throw out there that's relatively recent. Like Airbnbs have popped up like crazy in the Orlando area. Mm-hmm. And some of them are actually like, if you're looking for a place to stay with a lot of people, really nice.
Yeah. There's actually, I stayed in one that was it was like an apartment complex, but it was all like Verbos.
Interesting.
Huh.
It's like Verbo Village kind of thing. I don't know.
Just looking at Airbnbs, it is also significantly easier than a deluxe resort. If I'm booking 6 people, there are houses, like full houses that sleep 14, 8 beds, 6 bedrooms for $236 a night that are themed. Like,
yeah,
obviously,
some of them are themed way better than Disney resorts, honestly.
Yeah. Well, some of them are also, they're listed as themed, and like this one is Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and I don't know if I would be taking like all my friends to stay there, but for a family with kids, like that's probably a pretty solid deal, like if you're a family that's got like, 3 or 4 kids and you want to stay in a place with like, a couple other family members, like you're bringing more family down, like
you and your friends don't want to figure out what the Mystery Mouse Cthulhu is, Mario?
I promise you the look of this room is not somewhere I would want to stay personally. But I mean, also to that point too, like some of them come with the amenities of like having game rooms and things like that. Like over the recent years, I have been a very big fan of Airbnb and Verbo by extension. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I feel like when we started this, we wouldn't really talk about off property, but maybe
that was like
economy.
Yeah, that's something that's changed too, but that may not be a topic of discussion for the podcast.
No.
I had a thought of something that changed, and I just totally lost it when I went on that tangent about Airbnb.
Well, do we want to shift to our fun segment?
Yeah, we can do that. That works. So this is another thing that we used to do a lot when we first started, probably like a year or two in the podcast, when we kind of were running out of ideas to pull the curtain back.
Why do we not do this more often? This is the easiest thing for us to do.
And it's so fun, honestly.
It is. So we used to every now and then just pull up Yelp reviews or Google reviews or something and just kind of like take a peek at what people are saying online. And
our last one was October of 2020.
Sometimes
it's overdue.
It is very overdue. I feel like most of mine are probably not as old as that episode, but sometimes we'd make it a game. Sometimes we would just talk about it. And I think this week we're kind of going to do a mix of both. So does anybody have one they want to start with?
Well, before we get started, I just want to say we are in like the pinnacle of funny and like negative Disney Yelp reviews right now because of everything we've talked about, how everything's more expensive, everything's more complicated. So believe it or not, it makes for a lot more pissed off people online to write reviews.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked that people are still doing this.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I left a Yelp review.
No.
Or any sort of review on something.
And
I could tell you the last time I left a review on something, but it was a positive review. So.
Oh, well, good.
Well, that's nice.
My favorite and least favorite ones are the people that were like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's like you start reading them and like you were a journalism major, weren't you? Because it's like they're trying to write, it's like they're freelancing an article to put somewhere, and this was where it ended up on Yelp.
Oh
yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about with that.
Now, I have left book reviews, I guess I should clarify, but not like reviews for places.
I think the thing with these two is like this used to be a thing where people would check like Yelp or TripAdvisor for stuff like that, and I feel like places that people go often, like that's not my first go-to. I'm sure someone's still doing it because people are still leaving these reviews, but
now see, one thing too, does Yelp like Google reviews allow the place of business or whatever it is to respond? Because that is one thing that I always did like about Google reviews is like, especially with some local places, you go online and there'd be somebody like telling this horror story, and then the business would at least have the ability to come and answer back. Does Yelp let I mean, not that Disney's going to go on Yelp and respond to any of these, but
they do let the owner of the page respond, and I know that because I saw a response on one of the things that I chose.
Okay. So then I guess we should just dive into it.
Let's do it.
Who wants to go first? I can throw one of mine out. If anybody's got a particularly good one they want to throw out, we can just kind of go around.
Nah, start us off, Mario.
Okay, so here's one, and I'm not going to make you guess what this is what it was for because there's no way you're going to guess, but this is one for all-star movies, and it is by far one of the best things, and it kind of highlights exactly what you were talking about with Brian, with people that like to just leave their review to talk about a bad experience. So this one says, here for 18 nights and stuck in the lift for over 30 minutes with no one checking on us. We rang the bell on the emergency phone twice. Daughter gets bad anxiety, and the way it was dealt with was absolutely terrible. We could hear staff working the maids and people using other lifts. We were shouting and banging and ringing on the bell, and no one asked if we were okay. Nothing. No help ever came. Eventually, it moved up a floor and opened, but no one came to check if we were okay. Someone should come immediately, and we talked to us, keeping us calm, reassuring us that someone was coming. So there we go. All-star movies, 1 star.
I mean, that does suck. I won't lie. I would be pretty mad about it.
Yeah, they're completely justified in this, except for the part where they were upset because they could hear the other like elevators being used. It's like, oh no, now everybody should have to take the stairs because you're stuck in the elevator.
Yeah.
This one went on for like a while. I had to stop it because one, the grammar on it was a little rough, but this was a like 4-paragraph review where this was like a 3 or 4 paragraph review, just for no reason. They also left a picture of their child stuck in the elevator, so that was fun.
Oh, good. Wow. All right, I have one that you guys can try and guess.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What is with the stellar reviews? This place is like Outback on its worst day with Daniel's broiler prices. If you like bad cuts of overcooked meat at ridiculous, even for Disney prices, please eat here. Tables are tiny and placed so close together, they might as well just sit strangers in my lap. Super dark, too, probably to mask the badly cooked meat. Service is just okay.
Can we get is it in a park or not in a park?
It is in a park.
Oh, I have a feeling I know what it is, and I'm very sad if this is true.
Go ahead, Brian.
But I was gonna guess Le Cellier.
Yep.
It's, it's kind of just like, I feel some of these people, and not that their opinion is unjustified, but some of the people reading these reviews, it's just like, are you ever happy?
Yeah.
Like, this is pretty well and above known, like outside of Victoria and Albert's, to be one of the best places on Disney property to eat. And just, maybe it really was that bad for them, but come on, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an off day. Maybe they're not the happy people. Who knows?
I think so. I will say, thinking back into the brain tank here, I have left bad reviews on things before, and sometimes like my thought is, or not sometimes, but the only times that I've left bad reviews on things, it's usually like if I've tried to give the person the chance to make amends for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had a really bad experience one time we stayed in New York, and we told the front desk our issues, gave them the chance to, like, I don't want to say make it right because it sounds like I'm being entitled with it, but like told them the issues, given them the chance to fix it, and they didn't do anything. So my next course was like, okay, they're not listening to me. I don't want to stay here again, and I don't want anybody else to stay here again. But like, one experience would not make me run to write a review online like that.
Yeah. I think I've only left a handful of bad reviews in my lifetime, and I would say one or like a couple of them where I've had consistently bad experiences and I'm mad about it now and I'm tired of giving chances. And then a couple of them have been a single experience that was so absurdly bad that I felt the need.
Right.
But most of the time, if I had a bad experience, I complain about it to Laz and move on with my life.
Right. So Brian, give us one of your reviews.
Ooh, okay. So this one, this isn't a guess one just because I don't even know how I would start with this. But the accompanying picture is a packet of ketchup, and it says generic garbage. Disney is getting cheap, cheap, cheap. So the review reads, sorry, but I can tell when someone is trying to save money by the condiment packages that someone uses. Generic! ! I pay $30 for crappy nachos and margaritas, and I have to use generic condiments. Serious? Charge me another penny for more quality. Walt would be rolling over in his grave.
I'd love when reviews end with this.
It's more important than putting out a quality product for his guests.
I love when reviews end with that.
I have so many things to say about this. First of all, one, like, do you really care? I guarantee you that all of this ketchup is coming out of the same factory. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And secondly, it's like, what? You're a ketchup connoisseur? Like, I have never had ketchup and been like, that is significantly better than the other ketchup that I've had.
You could give me a ketchup taste test and I 100% would not be able to tell them apart.
Yes. And so, okay, you know what? Fine. Maybe this guy really, really likes his ketchup. Maybe he really, really can tell the difference between the generic and the not generic stuff. But
ketchup sommelier.
Yes. But this review was written for the Mexico Pavilion.
I knew it.
What the hell was he putting ketchup on?
What are you eating?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
As soon as you said they ordered a crappy plate of nachos, all I could think was, this is somewhere in the Mexico Pavilion.
I was thinking Pico's Bill.
No, but see, Pecos Bills
crappy.
Pecos Bills has the self-service thing though.
Right. That's true.
But I'm gonna break the illusion here. If our good 1-star reviewer is listening, it's all probably the same ketchup.
Dude, like 100%. I mean, it's just like buying the like store brand ketchup at a grocery store. You know Heinz is making it. They're just putting it in a different package.
Yep.
Goodness. Let's see, what other one do I have on my list that I can throw out here? Here's one that I feel like you guys can guess what this is going to be. This says, imagine a combination of the classic jet ski motorcycle races at Dave & Buster's and Soarin', but on steroids.
Oh, come on. That's unfair.
And the fact that this was a 1-star review, though.
Really? I mean, okay, this is Flight of Passage, correct?
It 100% is.
Okay, I
How
mean,
do you even compare Flight of Passage to Dave & Buster's?
I don't know, but they did. They did.
Wow.
Wild.
That's crazy. Yeah. Maybe, hey, I haven't been to Dave & Buster's in a while. Maybe they got some really nice new video games there.
They don't. I can promise you that. They don't.
I've been recently. They're not that.
Dave & Buster's is a fun place, and I love Dave & Buster's, but no, they do
right.
not.
All right, I got one that you guys can guess. I got to abbreviate a little bit because I don't want to give away too many clues. This ride is a fever dream. I found it to be distasteful and weird, and definitely not worth the 2.5-hour wait to get on it, especially since a lot of the line is outside in the punishing Florida heat. If this is one of your main reasons to coming to this overpriced dystopia of a theme park, I'd consider an entirely different vacation.
Oh my gosh. Is this Seven Doors Mine Train?
No.
Oh.
Okay, well, when I hear fever dream, I immediately think Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
No, that's a good guess, but no.
I was thinking the wait time's not fever dream.
I'll give you a hint. It's at Hollywood Studios.
Outside.
Is it Journey into Imagination?
That is not Hollywood Studios, Brian.
Oh, you said Hollywood Studios. What am I? Oh, never mind.
I know you don't live in Florida anymore.
Cut that out.
There is
Cut
no
that out.
excuse.
Edit it out. Hollywood Studios, Fever Dream. Outside.
And how long did they say they waited?
2.5 hours. Do you want me to give you the line that will give it away from the review?
Sure.
It's Mickey Mouse by way of Ren and Stimpy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I can kind of see it as a fever dream.
I can kind of see it as a fever dream, but also that's a ride that I forget exists. To be completely honest.
So for anybody listening that hasn't caught on, it's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But I love that line. It's Mickey Mouse by way of Ren and Stimpy. Because I feel like that's pretty accurate.
Really? I could understand fever. Okay, never mind. Yeah, okay. Goofy does kind of make that.
He has a hole in his tooth.
Yeah, it's 100% Mickey and Mouse by way of Ren and Stimpy if you're only talking about Goofy.
Yeah. I have another pretty easy one if you want.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, let me find it. I straight up puked when I got off this ride. I puked right on the sidewalk. The staff people didn't even look surprised. Was the ride worth it, you ask? No, of course it wasn't worth it. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Mission Space?
No, that's where my brain would have gone too, but you're in the right park.
Test Track?
No.
What are these people puking
about
off?
How they had to put trash cans as soon as you get off of this ride very recently. It's very new. It's the newest.
Is it Guardians?
Yeah.
Oh.
Really? Okay.
Which I can kind of understand having to throw up immediately after getting off of this. I timed my food really well because I had heard things that if you had just eaten that you're probably going to throw up after this. So I was like, all right, well, let me eat something small and inoffensive like a couple of hours before I ride this.
Wow.
But yeah, apparently it got so bad when it first opened that people were like throwing up as soon as they got off the ride vehicle that they had to put like trash cans immediately in the like exit area.
I vaguely remember that.
I like to picture this person like walking out, like immediately just like throwing up and being like terrible service, and then going online and writing this Yelp review immediately afterwards.
Yeah. That's probably what happened.
You know, it was funny. I was looking at because you mentioned throwing up in Epcot, some of the Mission Space reviews, and it's hilarious because so many of the 1-stars reviews are just from, you know, people complaining because it made them sick, which okay, but there were people on there complaining that it made them sick, and then they were saying, "Not you should know that this is bad because they put warning signs up before you even get on it." And it's like, well, they warned you that you might get sick, and now you're upset because you got sick. Like
That's very accurate. Yeah. Here's one that you guys might find super easy. So we waited 1.5 hours to see this attraction. It's very cramped room, and they stuff people in. Oh, sorry. It's a very cramped room that they stuff people into, and then you find out it's the same old attraction that it used to be. They've changed some of the animatronics. It's a huge waste of time.
not pirates.
Hall of Presidents?
Nope, not those. Keep thinking. 1.5 hour wait should give it away.
Oh yeah, that should have told me it wasn't Hall of Presidents. Nobody's gonna wait.
I can read it again if you want me to.
Yeah.
We waited 1.5 hours to see this attraction. It's a very cramped room that they stuff people into, and then you find out it's the same old attraction that it used to be. They've just changed out some of the animatronics. Huge waste of time.
Is it Tiki Room?
It is not Tiki Room.
I
You
don't
guys are
think
in
it
the
is,
wrong park.
Okay.
I will say it is the. If I tell you what park it's in, that will probably give it away. But it's the same park that the last attraction that Beth gave us was in.
Okay. A room with animatronics.
Don't focus on the room. Don't focus on the room. 1.5 hour wait. Same old attraction. They just changed the animatronics.
Frozen.
It is absolutely Frozen Ever After.
That's not a room. What are you talking about?
Okay, I think that's a very unfair. Like, I'm not a Frozen apologist, but
Sounds like you're a Frozen apologist.
it's like, other than them using the same like track,
It's totally
don't act like they
different.
didn't go in there and change stuff.
Right.
The only thing that's really the same is the backwards drop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, I have one that will y'all are gonna have to think outside of the box if you want to try to guess this one.
Oh boy.
But I will just say that's not really why I picked this one. It's always, you know, that you're talking to someone completely, you know, like in control of their emotions and you know, and is sane when they just like randomly end a Yelp review with some like political garbage.
Oh no.
Love it.
But let's see if y'all can guess this. This thing is a piece of crap. Employees receive no formal training. They get a week of someone who has no idea what they are doing teaching the new person. It is dangerous and a piece of junk. They should tear it down and bring it to the scrapyard. Bob Cheapskate, excuse me, Chapek, they thought they were real cute with that, is asleep at the wheel and only worried about his compensation. He should be fired and Disney closed down. Support Ron DeSantis so he can disassemble this place. No more free rides, Cheapskate.
Wow.
Yeah. So
is this a water park?
This is not a water park. This is not an attraction. Okay.
Is this just a whole review of Walt Disney World?
It is not. It is. It is. If I give you the category, you're probably going to immediately know what it is. But it's not an attraction. It's not a park. It is not a. It's not. I'm trying to think of what I can do to give you this.
Stage show?
It's not. It is not within the parks.
Oh, it's not in the parks at all.
It is not in the parks.
Oh, is it that hot?
Is it a
air balloon?
resort?
It is not a resort. It is not. It is not.
Is it at Disney Springs?
Partially.
Oh.
Is
Wait.
it like the boats?
I was just about to say, is it the boat
You're
from
getting
Port
very
Orleans?
close, Beth. You're in the right category.
Buses?
You're in the right category.
Monorail?
Oh my god.
You're in the right category.
Is it the bus
Oh my
stop?
No. Colder.
The Skyliner? I'm trying to
It's
think
the
of
Skyliner.
the Skyliner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's experience with the Skyliner was that made him come online and like turn this into a political tirade. But
Wow.
yeah.
I hate the Skyliner. Vote for Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
That's a good clip. We need to clip that out.
That is a good one, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. What a jump.
Yeah.
That was some serious logic leaping there, buddy.
Do we want to
Who are
do
they
like
even
one
training?
more?
Like, what is he talking about?
That's the thing is like,
Yeah,
how
that's
does
a
he
good
even
question.
know they're
The
training
people who push the button?
Yeah. I
At the
feel like the
stops? Like, what?
Skyliner is kind of relatively. I mean, I know there's people that work it, but I feel like a lot of the actual operation of it is kind of automated, right? Like,
Right.
I want it
Yeah.
to be automated. I hope it's automated.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That whole review is something.
Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster.
Thought you said it wasn't in the parks, Brian.
Well, I mean, well, I guess.
I know. I was
technically.
joking because you said it's a
But
bit of
yeah.
a roller coaster. That was a bad joke.
All right. I have a set of 3 reviews
Ooh.
that are all 1 star for this.
Is it all the same attraction?
Yes.
Okay.
It made my son cry. He even wanted to take off the glasses. He said it was bad.
I swear, if this is
hated
Muppet
it.
Vision 3D,
That was the first review. This will give you more context. It was very rough. I sat in the back and constantly had to make sure I didn't slam my head into the wall. Overall, not a do again. And here's review number 3. This ride is like if you went to a movie theater, but instead of the movie just being bad, the movie theater itself tried to break your neck.
Okay.
3D glasses.
Yeah. Is it tough to be a bug?
Mm-mm.
What?
What?
Did you ask a question?
I didn't. I'm just kind of stumped thinking. Like, I've never been like physically discomforted while wearing 3D glasses at the park, I don't think. Okay, well, what was that part though about the theater itself? Like, what did
Tries to break your neck.
Yeah, what? Huh. Oh, I maybe have a guess at this, but I'll wait for Mario to get back.
Did we discover where it was? I'm sorry, I
did
had to walk
not.
away for a second.
Brian says he thinks he has a guess.
Is it
Go ahead, give the
Soarin'?
guess.
It's not Soren.
Okay.
I'm going to read the last
Is
comment
it-
in full Oh, you want to guess?
Is it also Flight of Passage?
No. Here's the last the last comment without me editing it to take out the clues, and then it'll be obvious, I think. This ride is like if you went to a movie theater to see episode 1, but instead of the movie just being bad, the movie theater itself tried to break your neck.
So Star Tours.
Yes.
I always forget that has 3D glasses.
Yeah.
I have one. I don't know if you have one that you want to give Brian, but I have one.
I have like 3 quick ones that I'll just hit because they're not like guessing game ones.
Gotcha. So here's a guessing one that I'll take real quick to figure it out. We used FastPass Plus option for this. We'd never seen it, but heard it fills up quickly. We were disappointed. This is one.
A lot of things.
I will tell you, focus on the fills up quickly. and what you probably shouldn't use FastPass for.
Some sort of stage show.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast doesn't have one, right? Is it Beauty and the Beast?
It is incorrect, and that is not Beauty and the Beast.
It's not.
Okay,
I was going to say,
okay.
I didn't think it had one. I don't think I've ever seen that theater full.
Is it the kite show?
Nope.
Okay.
I will tell you,
funny.
Beth is going to be very mad that they used a FastPass on this, but also that this is the review for it.
It can't be Fantasmic.
It absolutely is Fantasmic.
Oh, no.
Okay, here's the thing about using a fast pass for Fantasmic. You don't use it because it fills up. You use it because you get to sit in the Sorcerer Mickey section, which is the best section to sit in.
You tell him, Beth.
Yes. Talk about my baby like that.
Goodness. All right, Brian, give your 3 quick hit
I'll hit
ones.
you with a quick one. This one isn't even in the Disney parks. This is actually for Camp Jurassic at Universal Studios.
No.
Oh.
I thought about doing Universal.
But it popped up in my search because I just put Disney reviews. Someone wrote Camp Jurassic and they actually gave it 5 stars. But they said Camp Jurassic is similar in style to Tom Sawyer Island at Disney's Magic Kingdom, except it's cool, which I found very offensive.
Very offensive.
Get that out.
It's very offensive.
Here's another one. This one is just for the Jungle Cruise, and I completely understand that like some people don't like get or like certain attractions
Or
but
have
I think,
joy in their heart.
Yeah, but this one, it just seems like the entire concept of the Jungle Cruise just like completely went over this person's head. 1-star review, total garbage ride. The line is hours and hours long. Why? Because of a movie starring The Rock, which has nothing to do with the ride.
Wow.
But okay, that was kind of like, okay. But then they say the ride predates the movie by like half a century and it shows. So you realize that there are people that like that then the movie is not why people are waiting in line.
Right.
For this ride. But so then to wrap it all up, he said, poorly made robot jungle animals and an obnoxious
That's
staff.
the point.
That is the point. But the bigger point is to finish this and an obnoxious staff member talking the whole time.
Which
like,
is the other point.
Yeah, it's like you just either this is kind of like kind of satirical or this person really just did not get the Jungle Cruise.
Oh my gosh.
And I will wrap it up with maybe the most ridiculous review that I have ever read just before. This one isn't for Disney World. This is actually for the Disney Cruise Line. And I had to read through this one a couple times. Okay, I'll just go through it. 1-star review. They make no effort to assist travelers inconvenienced by itinerary changes. You are given no choice but to go to the ports that you have no interest in going to, even when there are no shore excursions that your child can even participate in. They go on to say some other stuff. Basically, save the money and sail with Royal Caribbean. The ships are just as nice and they offer true service and care about your family's experience. So just to reiterate, this person booked a cruise with Disney Cruise Line.
With designated ports.
With designated ports and was unsatisfied with the ports that they were going to. And Disney...
They thought they were going to get to make requests?
Yeah. They thought that this was like a democratic thing. Everybody just voted where they were going to get off the boat at. Yeah, they gave them a 1-star review because they were unable to change where the boat stopped at.
They said, listen, hysterical. I know we're only a family of 3 here, but I would like for you to make a special trip for us.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's ridiculous.
That might be the craziest thing I've ever heard on a Yelp review before.
I'm so glad we rounded out and went back to do Yelp reviews again.
Yes.
This is worth the time.
It is a fun one.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.